And Wendy, you should be able to share your screen, famous last words. Ta-da!
There we go. Good morning, everyone, and or afternoon, maybe it's afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, all good.
All righty then. I'm going to talk to you about UBE, what we do, where we do it, and how we do it, and probably bust some myths about what people think UBE really is. So let's get started. I don't know how long this is going, how long the slides, it's going to take me to get through the slides. I made a couple of them early this morning, and but I didn't time it, so I don't know how long it is. So Margaret, if I'm getting close to when I should shut off, just give me a wave and I'll be good to go.
Okay, great.
Okay. So the Union of Black Episcopalians. First of all, I should introduce myself as the Midwest director of the Union of Black Episcopalians. So that means that I basically have responsibility for all of the chapters that are in the Midwest. Also, I have the responsibility of Pittsburgh, which I don't know why it's considered in the Midwest, but it's in the Midwest. And I also have the responsibility of developing a new chapter in Virginia, which is also not in the Midwest. But the new chapter is going to be at the Virginia Theological Seminary. And I met some really interesting people down there, and they decided they wanted to go with me. So we've moved VTS into the Midwest. We are currently, UBE is currently located on campus at Virginia Theological Seminary. We have two offices there, and it's really nice being on campus. This was my second year. Last month was our board meeting, and we go down there for a week. And if you ever get a chance to go to VTS, you should go, because it's a wonderful place, and the people are really wonderful. And it gives you a really big, it's a shot in the arm to see so many young people and what they're doing and what they're interested in. Enough about a commercial about VTS. Absalom Jones. When most people think about UBE, the first thing that comes to mind is Absalom Jones. They go, oh yeah, UBE, they do Absalom Jones. But Absalom Jones is not the only thing that we do. We do other things as well. But before I get into what we're doing today, I'd like to give you a little history about UBE. UBE has been around a long time. It originally started, as the slide says, in 1856. And it was four black priests and 7 congregations. And they were fighting the exclusion of Blacks in seminaries and in diocesan conventions. So they formed this group, the Protestant Episcopal Society for Promoting the Extension of the Church Among Colored People. Big, long name. And they went on, and and they were standing, they wanted the Episcopal Church to take a stand against slavery, which the Episcopal Church had refused to do. As we move on, because now, the war is over, the Civil War is over. So now we're in 1882, and the colored people are free. Well, in Mississippi, in 1882, one of the priests came out and said that The African Americans, or the Negroes, as we were colored people, as we were called then, we could not grow into a church, our own church, because our intellectual, moral, and leadership was inferior to the white Episcopalians. So Alexander Crummell organized a group, and he called them the Convocation of the Colored Clergy. Okay, we did that. Then they changed the name to the Conference of Church Workers Among Colored People, because now we have white priests that are joining our organization. That lasted for quite some time. And we were able to, as an organization, work with the church in trying to change some of their ideas about African Americans and what our capabilities were. Then we get into the 1900s. So we've been around a long time. 1937, Bradford Harris became the secretary for a new name, Negro Work. Well, that went on from 1937 to 1957, where the organization morphed into the Episcopal Society for Cultural and Racial Unity. That went on all through from the late 50s to the early 60s, which at that time, the Black Power movement was starting to get traction. And the Episcopal Society for Cultural and Racial Unity was not in sync with the Black Power movement. So again, the society shut down and was dormant. It resurfaced in 1968, and we became the Union of Black Clergy and Laity. And that was started in New York at St. Philip's Church. And some of the Black priests that we remember, such as here in Ohio, Reverend Cooper was part of that. So was our beloved Bishop Arthur Williams. In 1968, in 1971, they changed their name to the Union of Black Episcopalians. They felt that that suited us much better. So now we've become the Union of Black Episcopalians. What does that mean? What do we do? Our mission, okay, and we change our mission, every couple of years. Basically, every time we get a new president, the new president has a different mission, so we change our mission. Our 21st century mission is to unite diverse cultures, concerns, gifts of Black Episcopalians by providing preparation, encouragement for living through the baptismal covenant, fully participating in the mission and governance of the Episcopal Church. Our vision is to create awareness within African American young men and women about becoming clergy. So we help in the discernment process. We want to promote strong lay leadership so that lay leadership can move into the Episcopal Church. We create an approach to help Black congregations in their sustainability and viability. We are a community of vigilance and action regarding matters of injustice. We will often communicate, send out material, letting people know what's happening where there are issues of injustice within the church, and we will address those issues and serve as a on-the-ground organization to help move and change some of the policies that and injustices that are currently happening. What we do, we work with the Black deputies and their alternates at General Convention. We normally have a booth at General Convention. We develop resolutions that are affecting the African American descendants for General Convention. We again work with candidates who are interested in becoming clergy. We advise and we have a page on our website that we put up whenever there are available positions, because sometimes, you know, everybody doesn't get the word out. We do sacred ground sessions. We have a UBE monthly newsletter. We belong to the consultation. Consultation is a group that has representatives of all of the minority affiliated organizations, and we are a member of the consultation. We have an annual UBE conference, and if you want to have a good time, you come to the UBE conference. And we are an affiliation. We are in affiliation with the Episcopal Church. We are not part of the Episcopal Church. Most people think that we are. We are not. We are a separate 501c3 organization. Some of the other things that we do, we have a mental health task force. We do mental health webinars. We do referrals when there are mental health issues within our community. We support the historic Black colleges, Voorhees and St. Augustine's, and Bishop Walker School. And when I say support, financial support and volunteer support. We have our own YouTube channel, and we do Talk to Talk every Sunday at 4 o'clock. And Talk to Talk is a 45-minute, it could be on anything. People send in requests, gee, I want to know about so-and-so. You know, what that means, we go get a speaker, they do the Talk to Talk. It's a question and answer after the presentation. So it's more of an informational kind of webinar that we do. We do that weekly. Again, we have a YouTube, our YouTube UBE information. The president will send out, we'll do a video if something is happening, holidays, it'll be on their video. Just, again, informational. This is what we did during Lent. We ran a reflection series. It came out every week. It was meditations. And of course, we asked for donations. This is our board of directors. There are two people missing. The director, Reverend Wilson from California. But this is our board of directors, and this is where we were in VTS 2 weeks ago. How we're organized in regions. Each region has a regional director, and the regional director is responsible for the various chapters across their area. A chapter for UBE is a minimum of 10 people, and you join UBE You do the affiliation agreement, which covers us and you for liabilities. And pretty much the chapters are on their own as far as their activities. They come under the umbrella of the National UBE. So there's a chapter in the Northeast. There's one in what we call Mid-Atlantic. Of course, there's the Midwest, which we are part of, and Shug is the president of the Missouri chapter. And then there's one in the Southeast, in the West, Southwest. That shouldn't be Southeast, that should be Southwest region, which is mostly Texas and Alabama. And then the West region, which is California, Washington State, Oregon, those areas. And here's the commercial. In July, we will be in Montgomery, Alabama.
Mm.
And that's our annual business meeting and conference. It's 3 days. Again, we have a 3-day conference every year. We have a conference, usually our conference starts 3 days before General Convention. So we slide right into General Convention and participate in General Convention. And we always have a booth. And let's see, is that my last one? Yeah, that's my last slide. So I will turn it back. Let me just say one thing. Right now, we're sitting between 55 and 60 chapters. We represent the African American diaspora. We have chapters in the islands. We have chapters in Canada. We have representatives from the African nations that are also part of our board and are in the process of developing chapters in Western Africa, not South, but Western Africa. And that's what UBE is. This is where we started. This is where we are today. And that's what I have. And I'd be more than happy to take any questions from anybody.
So first, Wendy, I think if you can click to exit, then we'll all get to see each other in big. Yeah, like that. So I'll start with one while everybody else is thinking, which is one of the things you said a few months ago is that y'all were working on at this particular gathering that you just had, we're thinking about sort of strategy. And I remember your comment being, okay, we've opened the kimono, now what? Which was just stuck with me because I thought it was such a brilliant sort of way of saying, here's where we are. So I just wonder what that, and then obviously the question is also, how can we, particularly those of us, I always get mixed up about whether I should be joining the UBE or not, because I get different messages from different places.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So
I can address that.
Then I'll be quiet.
Yeah, I can address that. Anyone can join the Union of Black Episcopalians. You don't have to be Black to be a member, okay? And that's every chapter, anywhere across the United States or in West Africa or in the islands. So yes, you can be a member. Anybody can be a member. The only thing that we ask is that as a member, you're in agreement with our vision, what we want to do, that you want to work to resolve the issues that we have in the church, and you want to volunteer to do some other stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, anyone and everyone can become a Union of Black Episcopalian member. And we have, as an example, Bishop Diane Bruce has been a member of UBE for somebody said over 20 years. The new bishop, I just saw something. The bishop from Michigan, she's a female, and I can't remember her name.
Oh, Bonnie Perry, maybe?
I'm sorry, Bonnie Perry. Yes, yes. I just saw her check come in. She just became a lifetime member. So anybody can be a member of UBE, and anybody can participate in any of the things that we do. We have a website, Union of Black Episcopalians. Anybody can go on the website. You can, watch YouTube. You can participate in the forums. All of that is open.
Thanks. And how did the strategy planning go? That was my first question.
Oh, that's just, I am the strategic planner for national. And we go through that every year. And it's painful because people want to do everything. We're a small volunteer organization. We cannot do everything, but they come in with this massive activities, and we don't have the bandwidth. So then we have to figure out what we're going to do, in each year, and hopefully it works. But yes, it's been a challenge. Some of the, just like the churches, our finances. There's less people joining, there's less people coming to church, so that affects your financial stability. And so we've had to make adjustments, in order to maintain and continue to offer ourselves as resources. And we got to build a new website because we've got more people than we ever had before, and they're looking for more stuff. And, so right now we're in the process of taking bids to get a new website up. And the first bid I saw was $28,000, and I hit the floor. So, we have those challenges, but yes, they're challenges, but it doesn't stop us from doing anything because we're doing the Lord's work. Every time we ask for money, that's what they say. You're doing the Lord's work. Any other questions? No one has any other questions? No questions?
Actually,
Terry, you have a question?
I have a question, or somebody else was going to ask, and I'm
Okay, Terry,
okay.
I saw your hand first.
Sorry, I'm just a second.
It's okay.
Chewing on a toffee. That makes it a little hard to speak. So you mentioned at various points that UBE works in terms of discernment for ordination. Would UBE be willing to help with, I don't know, I'm going to call it an audit of, we're sort of revamping our Commission on Ministry and Ordination processes. And I am aware that it is not necessarily the friendliest, how do I want to put it, the friendliest process for those who are not upper middle class white males. But pinpointing, the actual spaces. I mean, I can see some of the pieces because they're pretty glaring, but I suspect there are a lot that are flying under my radar. And since we're tossing it up in the air and catching the pieces and rearranging them, this would be a good time for that. Is that something that UBE would be interested or willing to help with?
I'm sure. If you would send me an email.
Sure.
And then I can send it out because we are both clergy and laity. And maybe we could get 2 or 3 or 4 clergy folk that
Mhm.
would be willing to work with you to do that.
Excellent.
So if you would send me, I'll send it forth to
Okay.
the board and then see if we can help out with that.
Excellent. It may take me a few weeks because
That's okay.
but
I got 3 more
that would be
years
helpful.
in this job.
excellent. We're on the same time scale.
Sure.
Wendy, if it's okay with you, I'll put your email address in the chat.
That's fine. Shug, you were going to ask a question?
Yeah, I understand. I think it's the board has been working on some new policies and procedures, a new manual. Is that available yet or?
Shug?
Yeah.
I was on a board meeting call on the bylaws till 11:30 last night.
Okay.
And the answer is they are still working on the bylaws.
Okay.
Okay. The expectation, because there's a timeline, we've got to have it out 90 days before the annual conference. So it's got to come out within the next 2 weeks. And they will be on the website. We are going to, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. We are going to have some meetings with the regional directors are going to have meetings so that we understand what the changes are. Then we will have meetings, or Mother Lynn will have everybody together. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we're going to have meetings before we get to the point where it gets posted on the website so that everybody's be able to sing from the same hymnal.
Okay.
So give it about 2 weeks. Because I see I have 3 meetings that I'm going to be going to on that. So I would say probably in about 2 weeks, it should be there, should be available.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Well, I'll talk to you all day long, but I want to make sure everybody else gets their opportunity.
Okay.
I think one of the things I always wonder about is I'm very clear about the affiliation, not the part of piece. And particularly as someone who's part of the institution in more ways than I'd like to be in some sense. But how can the institution be helpful and not without being annoying and patriarchal, which,
Yeah.
know that.
We work with a number of the departments within the church itself, national church. What I would like to see is more involvement from the next level down. I would like to see more involvement with my chapters, with the diocese, working together, maybe doing some program things, I don't know. But I'd like to see much more activity on that level than just working with the national church. I mean, it's great that, that we all sit together and we talk to Stephanie Spellers. I like her. She's a nice person. Okay, but that's not doing anything for Trinity Cathedral.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So I would like to see more of that. I'd like to see the chapters get more involved with their communities, with the diocese, with the various churches, because we are separate and not part of the church. Okay. A lot of grants and stuff, the local chapters could apply for. And for grant money for, I don't know, books, I don't know, blah, blah. All right. But working together, we'd be able to do those things. We could apply for grants to the national church, because I'm not part of the national church. Okay. So when they run their grants, as an example, ENS, there was a thing on ENS, they ran it all last month. VTS was looking for, had put out a grant that anybody that had history stuff, okay, African-American history, that there was grant money available to go to VTS, transportation, lodging, food, everything paid for. You go to VTS for a week, okay, to work on your local stuff. I couldn't get anybody to go. I was willing to help write the grant. When I was at VTS, I spoke to the archivist, to Riley, okay, and I couldn't get anybody to go.
Mm.
I mean, I understand it's, it's hard, take a week from home. I don't know, I see it as a vacation, but,
Right.
But it's that kind of stuff, that working with a local chapter, local church, we could have, gotten, and they had the money.
Right.
So, like I said, what I would like to see, I'd like to see more of our chapters working with the diocese and fostering, getting a really good relationship with the diocese, because there's work to be done.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And I have some chapters that do great works, and then I have other chapters that the only thing that they do is Absalom Jones, and then you don't hear anything from UBE anymore until next year for Absalom Jones.
Yeah. That's really helpful. Nobody else has any questions or comments for
do.
Wendy?
I do.
Felicity,
So-
yes. Hi.
So, what do you want us to do? Like I'm hurting because of this BTS offer that no one took you up on. I wish I had known about it. I would have spread the word. Twisted some arms even. But what do you want us to start doing going forward now?
Well, it would be good if you would join UBE. I mean, yeah, we need people to get involved. Okay. We need people to get involved. We're a volunteer organization. The board is small. Like I said, we started a call at 8 o'clock last night. At 11:30, we finished. All right. Simply because we don't have boots on the ground to do things. Okay. Next year, 2024. All right. I will be coming to you all, pounding you all, every single person, because I have responsibility for the annual business meeting in Kentucky, in Louisville, Kentucky, which I've never even been to. And because it's going to be General Convention,
Right.
and we're starting the day before, okay, and we have no boots on the ground. It's going to be a really big thing. It's the last year for Bishop Curry. So it's going to be huge, and it's in our region. And anybody's probably going to be there. So I will be coming to Province 5 for help in getting all of that stuff done. On a normal convention, non-general convention annual meeting year, we get anywhere between 150, 250 people attending our conference. On general convention, we get up to 350 to 400. My expectation is for 2024, I will surpass, possibly double that number.
Wow.
And I do not have a chapter in Louisville. My closest chapter to Louisville is Cincinnati. And I think that's like 2 hours away. And they are a more seasoned membership. They are seasoned, really seasoned members.
that.
Well, we
I
could
like that
become
word.
season 2, Wendy.
I'm sorry.
We could become season 2.
Listen, I'm in my 70s, okay? So I know what season means. My body says 70 something. My mind says, oh no, girl, you're 25. But UBE, it's a worthwhile organization. You know, I've been in the Episcopal Church for over 50 years. And I didn't know anything about UBE until I started going to Trinity Cathedral, and Bishop Arthur came up and said, let's go to lunch. Let me tell you something. If Bishop Arthur Williams ever says to you, let's go to lunch, run. Because he has something for you to do.
Yeah.
And that's how the Cleveland chapter had stopped functioning. Their president had died and they just weren't. And he said, it's something, you know, and I don't even know what UBE is. Let me give you some information. Okay. And boom, we were on. And now I'm in national. Okay. And every time I see him, I go, you know, this is your fault. And he just laughs. He thinks it's funny. Yes, Mary?
So what chapters are there in Michigan? I am not aware. Is there just the one in Detroit?
In Detroit,
Is that the only one?
Juanita Woods.
Uh-huh.
Juanita Woods in Detroit. Yes, that's the other one. There was one in Inkster, Michigan.
Okay.
But when the priests there retired and they shut down, and I haven't been able to raise them up again. But in Detroit, Juanita Woods is the chapter president there.
Okay. So how, so I work for the Diocese of Eastern and Western Michigan. So how would you recommend going about getting people interested to start a chapter?
Call a group of people together and say, hey, listen, if you heard about Union of Black Episcopalians, let me tell you about it. Would you like to start one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you decide that you want to do that, you know, send me an email, call me up, say, Wendy, got this meeting, can you come? I may not, well, you're in Michigan. I may not be able to travel there, but I can Zoom anywhere.
Okay.
And I will come to your meeting and talk up UBE and bring my little slideshow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Debbie, why are you asking me a question? I just saw you.
I know. No, you did. I do have a question. I'm aware of the fact that frequently we do the Absalom Jones service once a year. It's kind of like taking Absalom Jones off of the shelf, dusting him off once a year, and then nothing else. I'm also aware of the Alexander Crummell, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Crummell, that has been, that people are becoming more aware of in early September. Are there other names that, I mean, we could collaborate with you, with UBE or whatever, for some other names, because I would like to see, I would like to see at a minimum somebody that is raised up, who has done, somebody who's raised up at least once a quarter. Because I think it's just really easy for things to fall off of people's radar and say, and I'm not talking about this group, I'm just talking about in general. And I'm surprised sometimes at folks who say to me, what is UBE? So I think there's a lot of things that could be done to raise consciousness in a very general way. And I just, I guess I'm partly saying I'd like to see that. And I was thrilled with the Crummell thing in early September, but I'd love to see more.
Yeah, and you know, and there's UBE Sunday that we do.
Mhm.
You know, and I've been at Trinity speaking, you know, doing the UBE Sunday
Right.
thing.
Mhm.
You know, I've been pushing, attempting to see if I could get enough traction to do Juneteenth celebrations.
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay.
absolutely. Thank you for
To
reminding me of that.
get in the southern place, because you know, all of us regional directors are in competition with each other. Okay. And those southern people, they have these like massive Juneteenth celebrations that they get involved with their cities, and they have booths and they run all kinds of raffles and all kinds of stuff that goes on. And so I've been trying to get some traction to get some of that started. In Indianapolis, they run the Sacred Ground. They got a grant. They wrote their own grant, and they got the monies to do Sacred Ground. I don't know if it came from Lilly or it came from National Church, but they've been running all of the Sacred Ground sessions for the last 3 years. And you know, they do the Sacred Ground. You go in there and they give you lunch and they do all kinds of stuff. But you know, that's their like big thing. You know, they do the Absalom Jones, and I think this year they are slated to do a big Juneteenth celebration. So there are things you have to get with your local chapter.
Okay.
Okay, to get them to say, well, okay, fine, guys, what are you doing? Or let's brainstorm. Maybe we can do something together. And then push it out that way.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you reminded me about Juneteenth because I've felt like that was important, and that's I know that holiday's only been around for 2 or 3 years, but it gets, again, a lot of these things they unfortunately they get forgotten or they get relegated to a place where you don't think about them until it's too late. And right now I'm thinking, could we even do anything here in our area? But I bet we could figure out something.
Figure
So-
out something.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, once you start it,
Right.
you know, that's it.
Start small maybe, and you've got the wheels turning in my head.
Okay. Ooh, that's scary.
It is. I'm going to call you for lunch.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Terry?
Wendy, I was just looking on the website for, I've been sitting here scribbling a list of names to see if I can come up with, I assume I need something more like 15 if I'm going to get 10, to invite to an information meeting. There's an About UBE brochure on the website. Is that up to date? If I use that, am I going to be promulgating false information or?
No. I think that was put up recently. I don't know. I
It's got
haven't
Bishop
had it lately.
Dion on the front of
Yeah,
it. It can't
then
be
it's
too
okay.
old.
Yes, it's new. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the right one.
Okay, excellent.
Uh-huh. And he's been a Bishop Dion's been a UBE person forever.
Right.
You know, even as a teenager, he was going to UBE conferences. But I'm trying to get pictures.
Incriminating ones or otherwise.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm trying to, you know, I don't want the pictures of you when you were a bishop. I want the pictures when you were hanging out with the kids, you know, at UBE.
Adrian, did you have a question?
I had a question. Wendy, you said a while back you needed help from Province 5. What are you asking for?
I'm sorry.
You said that you would need help from Province 5.
Yes, and for 2024, for the conference that's going to be in Kentucky. What it is yet, I don't know, because we're still trying to figure out what it's going to be.
So stay tuned is the answer to
Yeah,
that.
stay tuned. As soon as the conference in Montgomery is July. The first communication that we have that's going to come out on 2024 will be in September. That's what's, yeah. So by September, we'll have everything formulated, and then we'll know what resources we need. And that's when I'll be coming and banging on everybody's door. And I'm good at that. Real good.
Shug, you had your hand up?
I do. I have two things. What are the, if you want to call it, the benefits of lifetime membership, Wendy, in UBE?
Well, that has changed. That was part of the conversation that we had last night. Lifetime membership is changing. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like going forward in 2024. There's, when lifetime membership came out, they brought out lifetime membership. Lifetime members were supposed to be supportive of the organization. You know, there wasn't any kind of, you know, you got a gold pin, I think it was. Okay, and you got to say you were a lifetime member, but there were no commitments. You know, and some, you know, on the East Coast, they're doing one thing, on the West Coast, they're doing something else. Okay, so that has, my understanding, that has been defined, and that's going to be in the new bylaws that come out, the actual membership categories and what's included in that category. But I have not gotten through all of the bylaws yet because it's a lot.
Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to say is, in my experience, especially in getting our chapter formed, I know you say we're an affiliate of the diocese, but there's a little bit of a disconnect in that for me, because it would appear that you need the permission of your bishop to have a chapter. Like, I had to go to our, not Bishop Dion, this started years back.
Mhm.
I'll just say this, not all bishops embrace this ministry.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, so,
yeah.
you know, is that fact that the
No.
permission of the bishop is
Okay.
needed, or, okay,
The only time that you have to get the bishop's concurrence or agreement is if you are going to be a diocesan chapter under the bishop's, within his diocese. As an example, in Indianapolis is a diocesan chapter. Okay, all of their monies and what have you, all funnels through the diocese. The
Oh.
diocese pays their assessments. The diocese, the only thing that the individual pays are their individual membership dues, but the diocese pays everything else. So they're a diocesan chapter, but you don't have to be a diocese. You don't have to be under the umbrella of the diocese. As an example, in Cleveland, Cleveland is not under the umbrella of the diocese. They are a separate organization. They have their own 501c3. So they don't have to get permission from the diocese. Now, they have to work with the diocese. Okay, you know, because we can't go in and bum guard and take over your church. We need, you know, you to work, we've got to work with you. But that too, Shug, is going to be really, really defined in the new bylaws. Okay, because there's a lot of people that because it says the Diocese of Indianapolis, they believe that they're a member of UBE, and they don't have to pay dues because the diocese paid it. No, that's not so. So that's going to be explained in the bylaws because they've gone through and really, you know, actually defined every single level and identified what each level means.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So you're all gonna go on the website and you're all gonna join UBE, right?
Exactly.
And then you're gonna call your local chapter and say, I want to volunteer to do, what are you all doing next? Because I want to volunteer to help you do it,
Brilliant.
right?
Yeah, I'm in.
And I'll preface it with Wendy said.
Right.
We said we
That's
had to.
okay. That, no problem. Wendy said they'll go, okay,
That's right.
because they know if they don't say, okay, I'll be calling them.
Wendy, thanks so much. This has been really, really helpful.
You're welcome.
And, we'll have you, I would say whenever you or somebody else from UBE wants this time, because it would be valuable to you, let me know.
Okay, and now that I guess I'm part of this organization, I'll start coming through with informational pieces about what we're
Yeah.
doing, so that you can add them like in the newsletter and stuff that goes out.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
I'm aware that our time is coming to an end. I want to let you all know that I'm going to post the link, if I can figure out how to do that, in the chat. The Church Pension Fund is offering a thing next week called something like, your church's plan for reparations. Whoops, I didn't do that right. I feel a little bit cynical about the fact that the Church Pension Fund is trying to do this, but that's just me.
No, Margaret, It's a-
Stephanie
it's a-
Spellers is going to be there, so there might be some hope for that. And I do have a copy of that book. Yeah.
yeah,
but-
it's supposed to be an author talk about this book. So I think it's just that CPG is the one that's
Sponsoring.
hosting it. Yeah.
Okay, so give us the title and author of that book, Terry. and
Okay,
I'll-
this is called Reparations, A Plan for Churches by Peter Jarrett Shell. So let me type that actually. So,
Type that.
And I think that book is brand new because he just presented a couple of things I think he just did something in Baltimore at Memorial Episcopal Church about the book.
I pre-ordered it and it arrived while I was on sabbatical.
I think they must have handed it out at the House of Bishops because the bishop gave me one. But anyway,
Okay.
in the For What It's Worth department, that's next week, and I posted the link for that.
Great.
So I'm planning to listen in. I'm assuming it's a webinar, not a conversation, but we'll see. We will meet again the first Monday of June. I quite frankly have no idea what the topic is just yet. But I'll work on that with some of y'all. And if you all have ideas about what the topic for next month should be, send me an email.
Where are we on the rotation?
Well, that's part of the reason I have no idea what the topic is.
Ah.
Because I've missed the past. I was on sabbatical and then I had a death in the family. And so I've been out of the loop for a while. So I will get with people who remember these things and figure out what the topic is for next month. And then, where we are on the rotation of spiritual resources, information and brainstorming. And then I'll figure out what we're going to do next month. So. All right, any last comments before we bid adieu? Where's my deacon? Don't I have a deacon in this group? I have a deacon postulant. Right, Felicity?
I'm here. Let us pray. Lord God, thank you for bringing us together at this time to reflect on our day so far and on work we've been doing, and also listening to Wendy's great presentation on the UBE. Please show us what you'd like for us to learn from what we have heard, Guide us to make the best choices moving forward today and beyond. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 All right. Peace be with you all. I'll see you next month.